Some theoretical ideas will be more applicable than others depending on the sort of photography the photographer is performing at any particular time. In photography, there are no hard and fast rules about composition of photography. If you do it incorrectly, there are no consequences. However, the end goal of every compositional method is to produce pictures that are both dynamic and intriguing. Photographic composition refers to how each individual element in an image is placed in relation to each other. Here are some suggestions to assist you in your frame images, but keep in mind that there are no absolutes when it comes to framing. The golden mean and the rule of thirds. Professionals in numerous disciplines utilize them to produce a harmonious and unambiguous positioning of a wide range of design components in their work. In any item, even a presentation, images and text may be substantially enhanced if they are used in accordance with these simple guidelines. Moreover, anyone can do it. The rule of thirds and the golden mean are two ways for positioning things in the best possible locations to entice the eyes of the observer. Using the golden mean, you may use a curving line to bring the eye of the viewer into the frame of your photograph. It is called the rule of thirds because it divides the frame into thirds, placing the most engaging elements in the center of each third. In 1797, John Thomas Smith, an artist, writer and painter, was the first to use the term. Commenting on Rembrandt's work The Cradle, Smith said that 2/3 of the picture were in shade and 1/3 was in light. It is also known as the golden mean or the golden ratio and has an original value of 1.6180339 roughly. On the basis of a line, Plato first discovered the golden ratio. Line A is broken into B and C in the figure below. A is equal to B in terms of the golden section. A is 1.618 times longer than B, while the so-called golden ratio is a percentage said to be the key of many masterpieces of art. People tend to value it so highly that it has been the basis for establishing beauty standards. The likes of Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo and Sandro Botticelli have all made the use of it. Salvador Dali, using the golden ratio, created the sacrament of the Last Supper. It has been utilized in building for ages as well. Artistic industries, including photography and design, have found the golden ratio attractive because of its expansive application in art. A well-composed image may be achieved by aligning the focal point of your frame with one of the grid lines. A viewer's gaze is automatically pulled to the points. Another good practical example is to try to align the horizon with the top line of the grid, whether photographing a stunning landscape or a sunset cityscape. The simplest approach to imagine splitting one of the phi-grid rectangles when using the Fibonacci spiral for portrait photos is to picture the spiral. A little rectangle is formed by one of the giant rectangles crossing corners. This is where you will begin your spiral and where your emphasis will be. Although the Fibonacci spiral's technical components may be explained in more details, this serves as a starting point for comprehending its nuances. Photographers may employ the golden ratio in 8 different ways since it is so versatile. Using a landscape or portrait orientation, they may use it in 4 different additional ways. In each image, the phi-grid allows you to visualize the golden ratio. In a grid over a picture, smaller rectangles are arranged in a pattern where 4 of the rectangles have the 1:1.6818 ratio as their basis. The rule of thirds is a basic concept, but its application may be extremely complicated. When photographing a scene, there are certain to be conflicting elements. While it's possible that moving an element 2/3 to the left will result in another element being in a position that doesn't follow the rule of thirds, you will usually be able to resolve the conflict between the conflicting elements or simply need to decide which of one is the strongest and most important in order to focus your attention there. Objects and horizontal lines are seldom in the center of an image, although strong symmetry, a portrait or a headshot may necessitate their inclusion. Remember that these guidelines are supposed to be flexible and they will not always be applicable. It's only a matter of finding the perfect combination and balance of these aspects to fit each photo's compositional needs rather than relying solely on the principles of the composition. The sweet spots in the picture frame are the four locations where the image intersects. The advantage of these sweet spots, two crossing lines or a grid line, by positioning the subject you want to attract attention to in one of these areas. This will ensure that the shot seems well structured and creates an appealing focus point. Even said, this technique has its drawbacks. Not all photos will be aesthetically pleasing when utilizing this principle, depending on the subject matter. The horizon or certain things in the frame will maybe appear out of place, or the shot may appear overly structured and artificial due to their placement in the frame. As a result, the golden ratio is often regarded as a superior design approach for capturing images that appear more natural and harmonious. In photography, the rule of thirds is all about breaking away from the flat and traditional angles. Get 1/3 of the water and 2/3 of the sky in a shot of water. Alternatively, it may be the other way around, depending on the point of view. Only a few distinct subjects may be found in the center or rear area of the photograph. If you want to draw attention to a particular aspect of your subject, using an intersection point on a 9-point grid might help. This might contain photos of a single item, such as a basic portrait. Product photography, on the other hand, would necessitate something else. In this case, the item is more significant than the artist's ingenuity. The viewer's eyes will travel about your scene if there is more going on. Emphasize movement using the golden ratio. In order to draw the viewer's attention to the spiral's terminus, you must use the golden ratio notion. If you are photographing an action-packed scenario, this is a great tool to have at your disposal. People, buildings, and a variety of other things are all fair game. Movement may be added or emphasized in an image by employing the golden ratio and would give the image a dynamic sense. Everybody learns first about the rule of thirds when he or she starts taking pictures seriously. It's up to us to decide which compositional rule to employ in each situation. The rule of thirds comes in handy when there isn't much going on. It contributes to the visual appeal of the image. It's easy to see that two principles aren't that far apart. Some, on the other hand, believe that the figure gives the rule of thirds a more natural and balanced appearance. The following are some final pointers. Use your photo editing program to experiment with cropping to see what happens when you take the same shot in different ways. Watch whatever you want by dividing the screen of your TV or computer into thirds. Animated documentaries or well-produced short films are my top picks. You'll see right away how photographers use the rule of thirds to organize the pieces in their photos. While you're out and about, keep an eye out for interesting things to photograph. Plan your composition by seeing the photo's boundaries and imagining how you would place the lines and topics within them. The more you practice shooting, the easier it will get to do so on a regular basis. The thirds chart may now be seen in the viewfinder of many cameras. This is a great resource for grasping the gist of the idea. Keep in mind, though, that it might lead to a strict interpretation of the rule of thirds if you get too dependent on it.